This video was recorded in front of a live virtual audience. Hello everybody and welcome to Totally Dacob. Today we're going to be talking the end of Chucky. Episode 8, Season 1. It is the finale of these... Chucky, your hair. It is the finale of the season. Now, not of the series. First and foremost, subscribe to my channel, then we're going to get to it. Subscribe to my channel here on YouTube and push the notifications bell for all the good stuff. I live stream every Saturday on my superdacob main channel where all of these videos are filmed, basically pre-recorded. So I have my wonderful viewers watching and live chatting with me right now in the chats. We're going to be talking Chucky. Episode 8. Spoiler alert for those of you who haven't watched episode 8. Watch it first, or forever be spoiled here in the realms of the Totally Dacob Fashion Bunker. So, I got the good guys, Chucky, here with me. Boy, oh boy, let me tell ya. Chucky, what are we supposed to do about this? Okay. First and foremost, Don Mancini, thank you so much for the show, for creating Chucky. You have made, I don't know, you have made a lot of my dreams come true. I just love Chucky so much, the Child's Play movies. I know it's a horror movie, and I know this is a killer doll, and I know that he's not really a good guy, but in some ways he is. In some ways he teaches you to fight for yourself, to be a survivor. I know he instigates a lot of shit and a lot of drama, and Chucky is by no means the good guy. Am I crazy? Am I the only one who sees some good in him? I don't know. Maybe I am, but that's just the effect he has on me. Not that I want to emulate what he does, by no means. Not at all. I keep having hope for him in a weird way. Anyway, so this show has been wonderful. You can check out all my reviews of every episode on my Totally Dacob channel. We have come, however, to the end of our journey. This word that we use so often. And it's kind of sad because it's the end of the year. A lot of things are ending. It hasn't been an easy year. It's been a tough year. And of course, Chucky also ended. The last episode aired. But the good news is it has been renewed for season 2. Chucky announced, Don Mancini announced that Jennifer Tilly also announced that Chucky has been renewed for season 2. I mean, I am so happy. And not only has it been renewed for season 2, but the great news is that they're saying that season 2 is going to already air next autumn. So we have less than a year to wait for season 2 of Chucky. I am beyond thrilled for that. Now, but let's get to episode 8. Spoilers. 3, 2, 1. Happening now. All right. They built up all of this tension for episode 8 already in the past episodes, especially in episode 7, you know, when the mayor announced this Frankenstein movie for charity event and the whole city should come and watch. I thought they were setting up the mood and the tone for a type of showdown like they did in Chucky 3, Child's Play 3, at the fair. Major set built, special effects, the drama, the ride, the gore, the lights. And I thought, ooh, Frankenstein chopped up into pieces. Looks like Chucky from Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky. Maybe he's going to get chopped up again. Who knows what's going to happen? How is the Frankenstein movie going to play into the factor of the episode? And it's probably going to be super gorish gory because, I mean, we've already seen his army in episode 7. When he finally makes Junior commit patricide, he kills his dad. And so Chucky, kind of by making an innocent person kill, he gains energy and power and can then fuel that sort of hate or evil or that corruption of innocence. He can fuel that and direct it into refractaling or refragmenting his soul and spreading himself out into other vessels. We get the explanation in this episode that he from Tiffany that he can only split himself up into the same exact vessel, shape, or form as the first one, which is kind of a new addition to this whole legend or this whole lore of how this whole voodoo thing works in Child's Play. Because then Jennifer says, well, exception is made for Nika. Why is a part of him also in Nika? You know, there's a whole other, that's a whole other kind of worms. But so that's why Tiffany and Chucky have been buying and collecting all of these good guys dolls and been kind of sending them all off to Charles Lee Ray's childhood home, waiting for the moment for Chucky to corrupt an innocent soul to kill, in order for him to have that energy to channel his soul and recompartmentalize and refractalize into all of these other dolls that are waiting there to be filled with Chucky's essence. Which is what happens after Junior kills his own dad, because Chucky made him. Actually, that kill was amazing because Junior literally uses Chucky to kill his dad. He kills his dad beating him with Chucky. I mean, this is insane. So, in episode 8, all of these Chucky dolls have Chucky's soul in them, but they're not as clever as the main Chucky doll. Or as Nika. They have questions. They're asking Chucky. And I'm like, wait a minute, but that is a part of Chucky. Chucky is in all the other Chuckies, so why do they have to ask any questions? It's like there's this one Chucky who's the leader of the pack of all the other Chuckies, when I feel like all the other Chuckies should be the same Chucky. But no, it doesn't seem to be that way. They are a little army of Chuckies, a little army of slightly dumbified Charles Lee Rays, and they execute orders like little soldiers. So now, we find out that all of these Chuckies are going to be given out for charity, homes in need, all the kids across America that are in need of toys, they're all going to be donated to these kids. So there's this truck packed with all these good guys dolls that is about to leave and be distributed all across the country. So I'm like, oh, so the army of little soldier Chuckies is not gonna actually create a whole incredible ending scenario in episode 8, which is what I thought was going to happen. You keep showing me the build up to this army that you're going to give life to, and you finally managed to give life to the army. You've activated the army at the end of episode 7. So episode 8, I expect hundreds of Chuckies running around the place, like a little bit like Gremlins. And like I was expecting an apocalyptic scene of that theater where they were going to play Frankenstein, and hundreds of Chuckies all over the place, like the Muppet Show, going crazy and amok, running all over the place. Instead, none of that happened. I thought budget much maybe was a problem with the budget because we don't see any of that. Instead, there's one Chucky in the theater stabbing people underneath the chairs into their butts, and these people die immediately, which is, again, I'm like, oh, okay. So, no, if somebody stabbed me up the butt, I would definitely jump up from that seat and at least scream or something. Instead, it looked like every time he stabbed somebody from underneath, they would just go, stabbed, and they would just go, oop, dead. Like he pushed a button to turn them off. So, that was a little bit... a little bit of a letdown. There have been much better kills throughout the season. You can't waste all your best kills in the first episode, in all of the prior episodes, and then in the last episode, you're kind of hinting at epic ending, and then you don't give that. They did, however, save themselves a little bit from, failure by setting up the cliffhanger for season 2. So, of course, the truck with Chucky's does leave. Now, we do think that Andy and Kyle both die in the explosion in the Charles Lee Ray's birth home. But Devin survives, and Andy survives. Andy is hurt, but he survives, and he, at the end of the episode, kicks out the driver of the truck with all the Chucky dolls, and he's in the truck, and he kind of looks at the kids and says, yeah, I'm gonna get rid of all these Chuckies. Like, and we think, okay, it's over. And then, big turn of events, plot twist, shocker moment. Who pops out from behind the driver's seat? Tiffany the doll this time, not Jennifer Tilly. And we see Tiffany the doll for the first time. She's been there all the time. We've never seen her. So she blocks Andy and tells him, you better do what I tell you or you're dead. So now Andy is Tiffany's hostage. If Tiffany is in that truck, I wonder, where is Glen/Glenda? Another thing they were setting up, they were very silent about. They didn't really mention at all since Miss Fairchild was taken into custody when Devin Moms was still alive and the chief of police. Redheaded Miss Fairchild, we thought she was Glen/Glenda. And in fact, for 2.5 episodes or so, we didn't even see her anymore. So I thought, Don Mancini's keeping her hush-hush, so we forget about her, and then she's going to have her big reveal moment in episode 8. Glen and Glenda are going to appear through Miss Fairchild. She's going to save the day. None of that happened. But what did happen is Miss Fairchild is at the cemetery where the kids are. And the kids are at the tombstone of Junior. Junior does pass away in episode 8. Junior could not get any redemption after he has killed his father. It was all lost for him. How else in Hollywood do you redeem a person that has lost their innocence in such a tragic way by killing their own father? The only way to forgive them is if they sacrifice their life for some greater cause. And in fact, Junior sacrifices his life for Lexi because Chucky wants Junior to kill Lexi. Junior loves Lexi still, so he kind of wants to stop Chucky from killing her, and then he kind of gets stabbed in the process. Junior dies. So Devin, Lexi, and Jake are at the funeral. Are at the graveyard at Junior's tombstone, where also Jake's/Junior's dad is, Jake's uncle is laying, and they're there, and we see Miss Fairchild. All of a sudden, she's back. She is in the distance looking at the kids as they are saying their goodbyes to Junior. And you wonder, why is she there? At the end of this episode, we're like, okay, everything's over. There's no need to have a reveal of Glen or Glenda. But she's there with the kids, looking at them. And then there's something else that happens very strange. There's a tree. We have a typical scene of somebody spying from another point of view. And we have kind of this black glove grabbing the tree. So there's somebody else there at that cemetery. Not just Miss Fairchild. Not just the kids. Andy is gone with Tiffany in the truck. The hand is not of a little tiny doll. It's not Chucky's hand with a glove on. It's a human's hand. Who is that person? We do not know. That's one cliffhanger. The other cliffhanger is, where is Tiffany taking Andy and the truck? Another cliffhanger is everybody really dead who was supposed to die in the explosion? We don't know. We don't know. We don't know season 2 is there for that reason. Is Glen/Glenda the doll version in the truck with Tiffany? That's also an option. The Frankenstein movie was a bit of a weak connection to our plot, the most famous scene from Frankenstein, the original Frankenstein, which in many versions of Frankenstein has been cut out because deemed too monstrous to show, is showing the monster, not Dr. Frankenstein, but the monster that he creates, which kind of a lot of people call the monster Frankenstein, but the monster isn't Frankenstein. Dr. Frankenstein is Frankenstein. The monster is the monster. But anyway, the monster slash Frankenstein for many people, right? He is a tender creature. He's a little bit rough around the edges in his movements, right? So the little girl that he's become friends with, he really loves her. She's kind of showing him tender things in life, like, plucking petals off of flowers and throwing flowers or pebbles into the lake. And he thinks that is just, he's like so happy, like, yay. So like she throws a flower into the lake. He lifts her, the little girl, and throws the girl into the lake. Obviously, she drowns and dies. Well, there are different versions of the movie, versions where he doesn't, where we don't see him throwing her in the lake, versions where we do see him throwing her in the lake, where she dies, where she doesn't die. So there's this whole concept of, what is Don Mancini trying to tell us? Is Chucky that monster? Not really. We are seeing the reflection behind the projection of the movie as the audience is watching the movie from the room in the cinema. Jake, Lexi, and Chucky are behind the projection screen in the theater having this conversation, the three of them. Quite a lame conversation, really. Not a great dynamic. Camera angles weren't the best. I thought, what a lazy way. I don't know. I have the feeling like, did they run out of time? Did they have no more time to finish filming episode 8? Was the show shot chronologically? Did they shoot episode 8 as last? Hence, maybe they had no more budget left or no more time left. It all felt really quick and kind of flat. So we do have the scene of Frankenstein throwing the girl into the lake. And I'm like, oh, so is this a reflection on Junior being like the monster throwing the girl into the lake? Like, is Don Mancini trying to tell us that there is still hope and love for Junior? He's just, Chucky made him. Chucky created a monster. Dr. Frankenstein created the monster slash Junior. Was that the mirroring of what we saw in the rear projection of the movie Frankenstein? Was that what we were supposed to? Is that how we were supposed to connect the dots and the plot lines? Is the plot line of Frankenstein the movie reflecting the plot line of Chucky in that way? Maybe. Or is Chucky the monster? Is Chucky the monster that has been created by somebody else? I don't think so. Don Mancini was very clear about when he showed us Charles Lee Ray as a young child killing his own mother. Didn't seem like anybody or anything made him evil. It seems like he was just born evil. And Chucky keeps repeating throughout the show, he is the way he is. Nothing made him. Now, okay. The death of certain characters, in particular Lexi's dad, being stabbed in the butt from underneath the cinema chair, without at all trying to run or anything, as if like being stabbed in the butt just makes you kind of turns off your button all of a sudden. It's just so bizarre. What was really gorish, and I loved it, and it was just so creepy, was when his wife, the mayor, gave him the popcorn. The popcorn was in front of him. His head is down. He's bleeding out of his mouth. She grabs the popcorn. She doesn't see him. She's looking at the movie, grabs the popcorn, puts it in, and she eats his blood because the popcorn is covered in blood. So that was a moment where I thought, oh, wow, that is creepy AF and really cool. In a very sick way, really cool. We kept on going with the references to and homages and Easter eggs to other movies. My favorite moment of the episode when it comes to referencing and homaging other movies was when Chucky came out of the toilet bowl. Andy came to Junior's house to look for Chucky. Andy just finished killing his dad. I don't know how Andy managed sorry, I don't know how Junior just finished killing his dad. So I don't know how Junior managed to clean himself up from all the blood he had all over himself to go downstairs and open the door to Andy. How did he manage to clean himself up so quickly? But so Andy's kind of, and it just took too long. It felt like they're stretching out that scene for way too long because they didn't have any more budget to shoot other footage. I don't know. It just seemed to take forever. And I'm like thinking to myself, oh my God, this is the last episode. You can't waste so many minutes. Andy and Junior tension, whether or not Andy's going to figure out if Chucky's in the house or not, or whether or not Andy's going to figure out that Junior killed his own dad, whether or not Andy's going to find the body of the dad in the house. It took a bit too long. And when they ended up in the bathroom and there's this bathtub with the cold water and Andy putting his hand inside the bathtub and Junior just letting him do it, and you think, oh, is Chucky in the bathtub? Is he going to attack Andy? No, it's all a red herring each and every step of the way. Since Andy enters Junior's house until he leaves, it's all a red herring. And then we have this moment, homage to the Ghoulies. Chucky pops out from the toilet bowl. Such a ghoulie moment. I love the Ghoulies. So we had this homage to the Ghoulies. And of course, another homage, to The Shining when Chucky is the other Chucky doll is in the kitchen in Lexi's place. And he says, what does he say? Honey, I'm home, or something like that. But anyway, when he cuts through the plastic paper, the plastic hangers and with a knife and gives us a Jack Nicholson Shining moment. There have been other Easter eggs throughout the movie that I probably missed, but yeah, Julie Scott says, so I guess we know that the gloved hand wasn't Nika. Oh, Julie, that's a good point. So now going to Nika, the Tiffany is so obsessed with Nika that she really wants to keep her for herself. And so she amputates Nika's legs and arms. Legs because when Chucky possesses Nika, we know that Nika can walk. And when Chucky leaves Nika's body, then Nika is again a paraplegic. But amputating her arms that was such a sick moment. I don't think it was needed. I think that was just very gratuitous. But again, very much, in my opinion, referencing and homaging Boxing Helena. Remember Boxing Helena? Shortly after Twin Peaks, Sherilyn Fenn starred in Boxing Helena, scary movie of her body being dissected bit by bit. So there was that Boxing Helena moment, felt to me, at least. But I was wondering, was that kind of a dream, a vision? The way it was shot and the way the camera moved out, panned out, and kind of showed us the amputated, the mutilated body of Nika without arms and legs. I thought the way it was shot and that scream and the echo of the scream, it almost seemed like a dream or a nightmare. So I'm thinking maybe that didn't really happen. Maybe in season 2 we're going to find out that was a nightmare. But at this point, I expected a lot from episode 8 that didn't happen. So I'm sure that me thinking that maybe that was a dream and Nika in reality still has her legs and arms is just wishful thinking. I wish she still did have her arms and legs, but I don't know. But Brockstar says the leather glove could be Kyle. Remember, she specifically made a comment about the gloves she bought. Yes, Brockstar, I was thinking about it. That's why I was kind of holding on, and I said, oh, we don't know if everybody who's supposed to die in the explosion died. The only person left in that explosion that could have possibly died was Nika. Sorry, not Nika, Kyle. Charles Lee Ray's house exploding. Because Andy, we saw him, he survived. Kyle, Devin, we saw him, he survived. Kyle is the only one we didn't see. So we think Kyle is dead. But there's another person that might be dead. Glen/Glenda. We still don't know who is Glen and Glenda at this point. Where are they? Who are they? So I thought to myself, maybe Glen and Glenda were also in the house and died. You don't know. But then, Miss Fairchild, again, is at that cemetery at the end. Is she Glen/Glenda? And the glove could be Kyle. Could be Kyle. Could be Kyle, right? Brockstar says the butt stabbing was strange. I think some victims had blood on their faces and it was strange. I questioned it too. Yeah, I totally questioned it. Stephanie's laughing. Unique Reverse says Chucky has his comedic moments. So this could have been a great opportunity for funny horror. Unique Rivera, that's that you nailed it on the head. It could have been more comedic. It could have been really funny. It felt like they quickly wanted to end that scene. It felt rushed, the scene in the theater. I'm like, you've been building up this battle that's going to happen in the theater for Frankenstein, and then nothing happens. It fell so flat, like really flat. And okay, so maybe you were on a budget. Okay, but then make the comedy, make the jokes, make it really funny. Like for example, they made it really funny in Charles Lee Ray's house when Devin was there, Tiffany was there, Nika was there, all of them were there, and the whole little army of Chuckies was there, and the little army of Chuckies started questioning their leader, Chucky, like, okay, who are we allowed to kill? Are we allowed to kill babies? Are we allowed to kill infants? And there's this ridiculous conversation about moral of killing. Killers asking like, well, what do we deem normal? That was comedy gold for horror movies. So that moment worked without having to use special effects because the writing was really good in that moment. The writing wasn't really good during the conversation between Lexi, Chucky, and Junior. That felt very forced and heavy, and then Junior's death also like, oh, okay. Pity that there was no plot twist for him, that there was no redeeming moment for him other than sacrificing himself, because Chucky has pushed the boundaries so far. They could have given Junior more than just saying, well, he killed his dad, so he has to die. You know what I mean? Debbie says, I thought it was a funny episode. Uh, yeah, so Debbie also says, oh, yeah, Brock, Kyle could have been the person who survived the explosion. Um, Debbie says, oh, I thought of you with the popcorn, Dig. Yeah, the blood on the popcorn. I thought of me too, because I miss popcorn so much. Mm, yeah. So Debbie says the whistling before The Shining, I think came from The Stepfather. Why I asked you the other day. Oh yeah, you asked me if I saw the Stepfather movies, which I haven't seen. Um, it was weird and unexpected, says Debbie. Brockstar says, do we think Andy will ever be killed off? I started being more scared for him than ever in this episode. I think as long as the actor portraying Andy wants to be in Chucky, they're not going to kill him off. I mean, there's an emotional, sentimental connection to him as well because I mean he's the OG from the '80s, so I don't think the Don Mancini would just write him off just like that. There are always ways to keep Andy alive, and I think I personally would not kill him off, but then again, you never know what they're gonna do. Paige says it is very interesting watching this, having not seen the series but familiar with the franchise. Makes me want to watch it. I wish it was on Netflix. Debbie says it's on Peacock now. um, oh, Vasila Anatov says same comes for video games. Worse graphics but better storyline back in the days. Interesting point. So, I mean, there have been, you know, I don't know, you guys. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think about episode 8. Did it really deliver on all fronts, everything that you expected, or was it a little bit of a letdown? Now, mind you, I love Chucky, the series. I've said I've been praising it from the get-go, and I'm still praising it. This last step, I'm not going to let this last episode factor into my overall assessment and judgment of the entire show. I think the entire show is brilliant. And now that we know that season 2 has been announced, that the show has been renewed, um, I'm so hopeful that they're going to get a bigger budget so that they can kind of play out certain things in a different way that they couldn't maybe play out this time around. Although I got to say, the puppeteering and any special effects that were connected to Chucky was amazing. Brilliantly done, masterfully done. I lived for every moment we had Chucky on screen, for real. Um, and what I also liked very much was Chucky. sitting down in front of a fireplace, very much like we remember from the 90s, Chucky. They had those kind of weird moments. Also, holiday season, Chucky special. Him sitting and saying, okay, well, I hope you've enjoyed this. Let me see the kill count. 20, I think 21 people he killed, plus everybody else who's not important. Chucky, every life is important. Well, he doesn't care. But and then he said, analyzing the situation. See you all in next season. Like it was cute. That ending, like that added bonus of having him sitting in his chair, like like an actor at the end of like those movies where the actor is sitting at the beginning of the movie. They open up a book. Let's read this fairy tale together, and then the movie ends, and then we're back to the actor in that cozy environment in front of the fireplace. They close the book and say, well, kids, I hope you've learned something from all of this. So having Chucky say that, kind of that type of concept, was brilliant. Loved that little detail because we're also used to seeing Chucky doing that. So Debbie says, I'm just glad for season 2 for redemption. Julie says, you were right about the scene at Junior's house. It dragged a bit. It could have been a few minutes shorter and accomplished the same thing. Exactly. And it would have given us more time to play out more stuff in the theater, and we could have done it a bit better, and we've seen this kind of theater scenario playing out several times throughout the show. In the first episode or in the second episode, we had that theater. The talent show was in the theater. That was the best use of that theater, in my opinion. The time when they were in the theater and Chucky was whispering in Jake's ear, and then Jake took him on, and then Chucky was like, ventriloquist type of style, reading the audience to filth. That worked. That was the best theater use. Then it didn't work very well when there was a whole city meeting in the theater, and then the president's head was chopped, the principal's head was chopped off, and then again we have the use of the theater, for Frankenstein, and that was the worst use of the theater, because it just felt like, okay, everybody, all the people, all the extras, sit down. So extra number 10, 5, and 7 are gonna get killed. Everybody else, you're gonna jump up when you give you the sign. You're gonna run out scared, and everybody else sits dead and motionless. Done. That's how basic that scene felt to me, and it was a wasted opportunity. But again, if budget is to blame, they're forgiven. If they had the budget and they had the time, and this is all they delivered, I am a bit disappointed, So that's all I have to say. Yeah. Andrew says, amazing. Braden Chucky has shade. Thank you so much, Andrew. Brockstar says, Rocky Horror vibes with the storytelling at the end. Loved it. It did feel that way very much. Yeah, it had that Rocky Horror vibe. Julie says, I like the fact that he said he wouldn't give any details as to how he killed the cat because it would upset people. LOL. Oh, that was a funny moment. I forgot about that one. That was a good one. Yeah. Oh, and as for the cat, I'll leave that to you. Yeah. That was a good one. Well, anyway, all in all, loved the show. I am going to rewatch it from the beginning to the end, probably all in one go, to feel the flow of now that all the episodes, like to have all the episodes together and just let them flow one into the other. Maybe then the finale is going to feel different because now I know what to expect. So I'm not going to have such high expectations of the finale. Maybe watching it all in one go recontextualizes the finale and gives it a bit more breath, because let's not forget that the finale was also longer than the other episodes, so they actually gave more time for the finale. And I'm like, well, what more time did you give it? You gave more time to the finale so that you can film a longer scene in Junior's bathroom? And you know what I mean? So anyway, maybe there's a different type of breath when you watch the whole thing in one. Definitely want to do a marathon. Yeah, Debbie also says, yeah, me too, want to do a marathon. Just saying. Let's do a Chucky marathon, you guys. Anyway, I'm loving the show. Despite the slight letdown of the last episode, all the other 7 episodes are just amazing in my opinion. And the cinematography is beautiful, casting beautiful, acting amazing. Andy is not the best actor. But then again, he's not really an actor. He just acts for Chucky, so that's okay. We love him so much, despite the fact that he's just not really, yeah, let's just say he's not a method actor. Okay. But we love him regardless, and he's always in our hearts. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Totally Dacob with Chucky, and Chucky's coming back, woo, next year. Until next year, or until my next video, never forget to never give up on love. This has been Totally Dacob. Bye.